extremely excited to introduce the GitHub ISRD API command line interface integration, where you can scrape and analyze GitHub repositories for a multitude of vulnerabilities, including but not limited to open source dependency vulnerabilities, which are a huge issue in the industry right now. So we built out this interface that can be ran on your own local environment. Alternatively, you can create an account on our platform at isrd.com or isrd.sh to benefit from our cloud-based auto-scaling environment to run these commands at absolute breakneck speed. So we have a few options here that I'm going to walk you through. We can choose an organization to scrape and analyze all of their repositories. We can scrape and analyze just one. We can specify a user and look at all of their repositories. We can actually incrementally scan all of GitHub, starting from a specified GitHub number of an organization. So based on the number of the organization ID, it starts from there and it goes up. And it's the same thing with first repos. You specify a GitHub repo number and it starts scanning from there and just doesn't stop. You can also pick out, this is one of our favorites, the top repos, which based on the language that you specify, it shows you the ones, the GitHub repos that have the most forks, the most stars, and the most recent activity. And you can either just get pure JSON back from the tool or get debug verbose statements. So let's do a quick walkthrough here. The first actual command that I wanted to demo here was going to be going through an organization and pulling down each one of the repositories and analyzing it for any open source dependency vulnerabilities. So we can pick anything. We can do something like Red Hat, and we're going to make sure we use the verbose flag because we want to see a play-by-play of what the script is actually doing as it's working. So it looks like it didn't find that organization because their name is actually Red Hat Official. So go ahead and fix that, and we'll see what the scanner brings back. And it kind of, just getting a result back like that quickly, it just goes to show you how important it is to be doing open source dependency and dependency vulnerability assessment in general in your CI/CD pipeline. Because if your developers are pushing up code and you're running something that has, a CVE from 2015 with the severity of medium because it's, running jQuery 2.1.3, that's something that needs to be caught before it goes into production. So that's why a tool like this is so important from both the development side and also from an auditing side. So I really see a big crossover between those two in terms of DevSecOps. So this is really a tool that you can implement in your own organization and, perhaps have it trigger on a regular basis just to ensure that your entire organization is clean. In addition to triggering this scan every time you do a push to GitHub for that specific repo and that specific branch. So you can see Red Hat Official has a lot of vulnerable dependencies, and it's actually kind of shocking that we're getting this much data back. That was interesting. Let's see, it's Ansible, OSE, PIV proxy. I'm not familiar, but we do use Ansible. So let's move forward and see what the next command is. So we can pick out a specific repository. So we would basically just feed it, the actual author and then the repo name. But I'm not going to bore us with doing one repo. we can go to first and initiate first orgs, and what that's going to do for us is it's actually going to start with the first organization ID number that you give it, and increase that number until it comes to the most recent organization. So this is a way that you can kind of do a little bit of research on the kind of first organizations that were out on GitHub. And what's interesting is these older repos tend to be a gold mine for vulnerable dependencies, just because they tend to be built with technology that has been, it's so outdated, 10, 15 years old, that there was just nothing else to use. And there's just been so much research and development in the field to identify those vulnerabilities in those, those JavaScript libraries, all of the things that allow the software to function that are dependencies. So not as many results as I would like to see. So let's go ahead and jump over to the next one, which is actually my favorite command. It's actually first repos. Now, first repos is a very interesting one because it actually starts with the first repository that was ever created that's still available, GitHub repo number 1, by an author called YCats, who created merb core. Not sure what it was, but this is an interesting query because just going from the first GitHub repos, again, another gold mine for vulnerabilities, just because it's so outdated. So you can let this run for a few minutes and you'll get back tons of stuff. Now what's really interesting is you can feed it a number, like let's say you come across a repo that was made 12 months ago, and you'll still get really good results because people just have not taken open source dependencies seriously, and that has increased the attack surface for open source software, and it's allowed information security researchers an additional vector to attack their platforms and be able to leverage those vulnerabilities to gain access to systems and data. So a nice little feature that we were able to plug in there. So the next one we're going to be doing here is top repos. So based on the language that you actually supply, we're going to say we want JavaScript, and it's going to find based on the stars, based on the forks, based on the most recently updated. It is going to just go through and find the most popular repos, clone them, analyze them with our tool set, and spit out a report. Now, by the time you're seeing this video, I'm sure that the JSON that our tool is spitting out for the GitHub repos is going to be a lot more extensive, because we are going to be adding in additional tools and additional tests pretty much every day as we build out this API. So this is one of the slower methods because it has to pull down a whole lot of data at once and process it. So we can see we've got React CSS components. There are 57 packages looking for funding, 10 low vulnerabilities, 2 moderate, 7 high, 2 critical. So this is a package that is definitely allows an attacker to compromise some data there. So we'll move on to the next flag. Oops. And the next flag is just language. So if you just specify language by itself, it's not going to do anything, but it allows you to tighten down your search queries. So you can combine it with an organization, a user, first orgs, first repos, top repos, to be able to look for, let's say, a JavaScript only application, a Node.js application, a PHP application, a Python application. So as we build in more security scanners into our GitHub scanner, you'll be able to take advantage of that language flag a little bit more. So super excited to be able to share some of these improvements and developments that we're building into this API, which of course you'll be able to have access to, but we highly suggest creating an account on our platform at isrd.com or isrd.sh. That way you can actually tap in and use our auto scaling cloud and be able to run these commands and export results in huge volumes of data. And it's beneficial for a lot of reasons from a research perspective. So we definitely suggest giving it a shot and at least demoing the platform. So thank you a lot for taking a sneak peek at some of the developments that we're doing here at ISRD, and I look forward to showing you the next development, feature 3, which will be implementing this into a web-based API. So essentially, we're going to be creating a web application where you can go in and sort of do the same actions, except you'll be able to do it through a web interface. And I'm not going to give out too many hints about the long-term goal, but you'll also have very extensive reporting by leveraging multiple tools. So that is a little hint towards some of the future developments. But stay tuned, and I look forward to sharing these continued developments with you.